Fear of rejection is a very powerful fear that often has an impactful effect on our lives. Many people experience some amount of fear when placing themselves in situations that could lead to rejection. But for some people, this fear becomes devastating. This fear may have various different kind of sources, various different kind of causes. And an untreated fear of rejection can worsen over time and also lead to greater consequences in a person's life. Namaste and welcome to my channel. My name is Kaushik Chaki, and in today's video I'm going to talk about fear of rejection. Now I'm going to make two different videos. First video is this one where I'm going to talk about fear of rejection, where I would be covering a few parts such as what are the situations of fear of rejection. And in the second section, I'm going to talk about what are the common reactions and the common behavior of people when they face the fear of rejection, and also what are the common behavior and the reactions of other people when they see you in fear of rejection. So these are the things I'm going to talk about, and in the next video that I'm going to make, I'm going to talk about how to overcome this fear of rejection, because this fear of rejection, if not understood and handled properly, can have some really destructive side effects in the long run. So by the end of this video, you will understand what are the situations where a person could face this fear of rejection, and also the various different kind of common reactions and the behavior of people who are going through this fear of rejection, and also people who see others going through the fear of rejection, what are their common behavior and their common reactions. If you like this video, please do subscribe to this channel and also watch the other videos that I've created on personality development and also types of fears. So let's start right away with what are the situations where a person faces this fear of rejection. So before taking you through the list, I would like to say that although not every person faces the same impact of fear of rejection in every situations, but the fear of rejection tends to affect our ability to succeed in a wide range of personal as well as professional situations. Some of the most common situations are, number one, that is job interview. Have you ever felt uncomfortable sitting and waiting to be called for a job interview? Sweaty palms, labored breathing, and increased heart rate. Also, troubled speaking are some common symptoms of fear of rejection. These are also some potential reasons why a hiring manager or a recruiter rejects a candidate. Confidence and sense of authority are important factors in many different kind of jobs. And those suffering from this fear of rejection generally come out to be weak and insecure. Also, if you have fear of rejection, you may also have difficulty, you may have trouble negotiating your salary, leaving your valuable pay and benefits right on the table. So this is the most common situation where a person feels this fear of rejection. Situation number two would be business dealing. So it's not only about job, it's not only about the interview. So once you have cleared the interview, you still have to impress people. Specifically, if you are working in a job where you need to entertain clients, you need to negotiate some deals, you need to sell some products or also impress the investors. These are some common key components in a lot of jobs. Even something as simple as answering a telephone call would be very difficult for a person who is suffering from this fear of rejection. And even picking up the call for people who are heavily suffering from this fear of rejection would be impossible. Next in the list is meeting new people. We humans are social creatures and we are expected to follow basic social etiquettes in public. Now, idle chit-chat in an ATM line, a grocery store, or even gym. However, there is a phrase people say that small and short conversations lead to lifelong relationships. And if you have fear of rejection, you may feel unable or uncomfortable to chat with strangers or even chat with friends of friends as well. The tendency to keep to yourself could potentially prevent you from starting these long-lasting conversations. Same situation would come to another one, that is dating. I acknowledge that the first date is scary for each and everyone. But those with fear of rejection would get quickly overwhelmed. Rather than focusing on getting to know that person and deciding if you would like to go for the second date, you might spend all the time worrying about whether that person would like you or not. Trouble speaking, obsessively worrying about your appearance, having trouble to eat, as well as visibly looking nervous are some common symptoms of fear of rejection while you go for a date. The next situation would be marriage. Now, marriage life consists of unending compromises and negotiations. No matter how compatible you might be, it is impossible for two people to agree on everything. And those with fear of rejection often have difficulties expressing their own needs and standing to their own ground. You might also develop feelings of jealousy and distrust amongst your partner, as this fear of rejection turns into fear of getting or being abandoned. And guess what? This is expressed in such an unhealthy behavior, such as checking your partner's phone messages or even social media as well. Next situation of fear of rejection would be peer relationships. The need to belonging is a basic human condition. In schools or high schools, we tend to self-select those groups with like-minded people or like-minded hobbies or like-minded sports. And as adults, we try to organize by our shared interests, our relationship status, and other commonalities. While dressing, speaking, or behaving like a group member is not healthy. Peer pressure sometimes goes too far. Peer pressure could lead you to do things that you're not comfortable with just to stay in that group. If your fear of rejection makes you do things that are immoral, illegal, or things that you do not like, then peer pressure would be a problem in your life. So these were the situations, the common situations where you would find fear of rejection. Now I'm going to talk about the reactions and the behavior which are common in people who face with this fear of rejection. Number one is insincerity, that is not being sincere to what you do. Many people who are afraid of rejection would develop a carefully monitored and a scripted way of life, fearing that you would be rejected if you show your true color to the world. You may live life behind a mask. Now, this may make you look inauthentic or insincere to the world and also cause a rigid unwillingness to embrace life's challenges. The next reaction, the reaction number 2, would be pleasing others. Although it is natural to want to take care of the people we love, those who fear rejection can go too far. Such as you might find impossible to say no even after understanding that if you say yes, you might face major inconveniences or major hardships in your own life. Now you may take on too much, increasing your own risk to burn out. And at the extreme, people pleasing sometimes turns into enabling the bad side of others. Now, worried about losing that person, you might assist or help that person in things that are immoral or even bad for others. The next point in the list is passivity. People with fear of rejection often go out of their way to avoid confrontations. You might refuse to ask for what you want or even refuse to speak up for what you need. A common tendency that I've observed in people is that they simply shut down their own needs or pretend that they don't matter. The next behavior in the list is passive aggressiveness. Uncomfortable for showing off their true self, but unable to totally shut down their own needs or shut out their own needs. Which is why many people suffering from fear of rejection end up behaving in a very passive and aggressive way. You might procrastinate, forget to keep promises, complain, and work efficiencies on the projects that you take on. In addition, the fear of rejection stops us from following our own dreams. If you have fear of rejection, you may also feel paralyzed. Hanging onto the status quo feels safe, even if you're not happy with your current situation. Now, whether you want to travel, write a novel, or ask someone for a date, fear of rejection would try to stop you from reaching to your full potential. Now I'm going to talk about some common reactions or behaviors found in others when they see you dealing with or suffering from fear of rejection. Number one is manipulation. Now there are some people who prey on insecurities of others, and those who suffer from fear of rejection may be at greater risk from getting manipulated from others for their own personal gains. Expert manipulators generally come across very charming and caring, and they know which triggers to pull to make others trust them. They also know how to keep someone who is already suffering from fear of rejection on the edge, as if the manipulator would leave anytime. And guess what? Once they achieve their goals, they are going to do that. They are going to leave you once they achieve your goals. So now that you know what are the situations where you would find fear of rejection, and you're also aware of the reactions that you yourself might face or others would face when they are suffering from this fear of rejection, and also what are the reactions and the common behaviors of people when they see others suffering from fear of rejection. So now stay tuned for the next video I'm going to create on how to overcome this fear of rejection. And also, don't forget to go through two different videos that I've already created. One of those is courage. What are the different types of courage that is required to overcome various different types of fear, and also how to better communicate by balancing your courage and your consideration for others. So do watch these videos. I'll be creating the next video very soon. Till then, this is Kaushik Chaki signing out.